turn to ban. Dire team ban. Alliances turn to ban. Dire team ban.
Brewmaster!
Dire team pick.
Skywrath Centaur War Runner.
Alliances turn to pick. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time.
Venomancer.
Alliances turn to ban.
All right, folks, welcome back to the Dota Pit League Season 2 group stages. It is Complexity Gaming versus Alliance here in a Group A matchup. Thank you so much for joining us again. My name is Mott. I've been with you the entire season. Joining me today is Nahaz. It's been a while, man. How the hell are you?
I'm pretty good. I mean, things have been busy lately, but on a Saturday afternoon, I can't think of many better activities than casting a couple of good games of Dota.
Yeah, honestly, this is a series I was looking forward to. Although both of these teams have had some struggles recently. You talk about Alliance, obviously. They've had some rough roster issues, some medical issues with Chessie, obviously. So they'll have some stand-ins. And Complexity, well, they're off of a loss to Not Today in the Summit 2 Grand Finals, and they got stomped in that series 3-0.
Really surprising. I mean, Complexity had looked excellent coming into that series too. They lost 5 games in a week to Not Today, and really, as you said, the last 3 of them were pretty convincing. They had looked like a team that had really turned the corner and suffered a bit of a setback. But I mean, this is part of the growth of a young team in any sport. You know, how do you respond to adversity? How do you respond to that kind of setback? You know, both of these teams really need a win in this series to get themselves back on track.
Yeah, absolutely, especially Alliance going up against Power Rangers earlier. I wasn't there to cast the series, but from what I heard,
oh boy,
it wasn't pretty.
No, I mean, Power Rangers pretty much got everything they wanted. Of course, F4L had the first game of that series. I cast game 2, but you know, Power Rangers just put on a clinic. I mean, they led from the start and never really let go. But Alliance here going back to a combination that's worked for them in the past, and a combination that these players, even their stand-ins here, have some experience on. Some players were asked recently, which individual hero do you think defines 6.82? And I believe it was Aki who brought up the Brewmaster in response to that. Brew, I believe, is the 3rd most picked hero this patch, and he has about a 55% win rate. This is a hero that has had impact in all stages of the game. You're seeing the battle build on him a little bit more, less of the Aghanims, more of the AC, and he's been able to be effective farther into the game than we've seen from Brewmasters in the past.
Yeah, it's the people kind of, strayed away from the whole, let me build an Aghanim Scepter and just kind of, be effective at the 30-minute mark and kind of lose my effectiveness as the game goes on because people buy BKBs and it's very difficult to deal with. But the Brewmaster Vlad's Aghanims is actually so good. It allows you to be effective not just when you're in your primal split form, but when you're fighting as well. So yeah, this is a pretty solid hero this patch. It's pretty good. I like the pickup here. There are ways to deal with it. In fact, Complexity have both the Scarith and Centaur, which are 2 good heroes against the Brewmaster. And they also have a Nature's Prophet as well, who can get involved globally, which we've seen a lot lately. Bat Rider picked it for Alliance, though. And, yeah, this is going to be interesting. So
very targeted bans, though. Look at these bans by Alliance. I mean, these are screaming Moon Meander bans. And indeed, I have to agree with that. The way you shut down Complexity is you contain Moon Meander. I mean, Moon Meander is sitting right around, I believe it's 8.7 kills per game, tied for 12th highest in 6.82. Loda, it's worth mentioning, by the way, despite Alliance being only 19 and 20 in this patch. And it just, I know Alliance has had their struggles recently. We've talked about that already, but it's still, it blows my mind to see Alliance under 500 in a patch. But Loda averaging 574 GPM, that's 8th highest among all players. So, I mean, he's been on an individual level excellent, but team-wise, it just hasn't translated into the type of success we're used to seeing this team have.
It's actually just so unfortunate because I think if they had a stable roster without any injury issues and if they had everything going their way, they'd probably look so damn good. Like if Chessie was back, they tried playing with Hani. Wow, this is going back to old Complexity, and they've picked this a lot. They've honestly put him in the safe lane. They've put him in multiple different ways. But this is just going to be so good for pushing down towers. They have the Nature's Prophet as well. The Edict is so damn good. Split Earth coming out. And I like the choice coming out from Complexity. I'm surprised because I don't know who's going to play this. I think
it might be Moon. Moon's last game on Lesh was in this tournament, and he went 15, 2, and 13 on his Leshrac in a win over M5. I mean, this may very well be a one-position Leshrac, and if so, we don't see nearly enough of this. I'm really excited to see this hero in that role.
I actually just love Leshrac. The change to Edict actually just killed this hero, which is really unfortunate. But
exactly.
They've given him like numerous buffs over the past couple of patches. Like, hey, your Lightning Strike, your Lightning Storm actually does a significant amount of damage, and it slows also. But I mean, this is a hero that does scale pretty well with farm as well. Like, if you get like a Bloodstone, you just run at people with your ultimate. Like an Aghanim Scepter, I think, is also pretty good with this hero. Which a lot of people were kind of like, Aghanim Scepter, Leshrac, but most people play Leshrac as a support. So it also comes down to hitting your stomps. It's not the easiest thing in the world. It is sort of a skill shot. But
remember, though, that for Leshrac, I mean, with the change to BKBs, and there have been several of them now, with the change to BKBs, magic damage is very relevant in the late game again, which is part of why you're seeing builds like Ag Scepter on Leshrac come back into play. That, you know, it used to be that Ag Scepter on Leshrac was of dubious value later on when you could rebuy a BKB. You know, now when everybody's BKBs are eventually going to be down to 5 seconds anyway, that extra magic damage can really play a part in these late game engagements.
The problem with Pulse Nova though is that it costs so much mana. I think.
Yeah, but you got to have a Bloodstone, and remember the Bloodstone change. Although you know, I thought it was going to be bigger for Timbersaw than it ultimately has been. Remaining. The Bloodstone change helps out a lot of heroes. I mean, Soul Ring is a very good item. It's not just an Eternal Envy item anymore, and the fact that item now builds into Bloodstone, you can have a lot of cores like Lesh use that Soul Ring to spam their abilities to farm in the side lanes and then get that fast Bloodstone up too. So it's a good build. Still though, the Anti-Mage pick is really inspired here. And Loda, I mean, if you want to talk about people in the game that play just an old school awesome Anti-Mage, I mean, obviously you talk about B-God, but Loda's up there. Loda's certainly up there with Sylar and any of the Black and any of the great Anti-Mage players you want to name.
Honestly, I think he's one of the, if not the best farming carry in the West. Easily in terms of farming numbers. And again, this is the two sides to this thing. Moon, for all that he's made huge plays in his patch, he's not put up the gaudy farming numbers that you talk about with Loda. I mean, he's only averaging about 520 GPM, which is certainly respectable, but given that they've been winning lately, I've actually expected to see his farming numbers be a little better than they are. But again, Complexity is a team that's comfortable mixing it up. They're comfortable in these mid-game engagements fighting out. They're not necessarily going to have Moon sitting in his lane farming, but against an Anti-Mage, it becomes so crucial that they shut him down early. Yeah, it's going to be. Even if they do shut him down, knowing Loda, he could still carry this game. I mean, again, it is just an Anti-Mage. The Brewmaster's going to help with the Enigma with the Black Hole as well as the last pickup for. I mean, even if Loda gets a tough season, players, especially like Eternal Envy, like Carteezy, and Loda being one of the better carries.
Lesh, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh man, this is gonna be a farming centaur with a mid Leshrac.
I have not seen a mid Leshrac since before TI2, I think it was, if it is a mid Leshrac. I know Swindle pretty much only plays mid for this team, so.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think I've seen but 1 or 2 games where he's been anything other than mid, and Swindle is. Boy, he is probably the highest variance player on their team. I've seen him make just